Hello and welcome to Insights, everyone. I'm Nnamdi Adigbo.
And my name is Elizabeth Omori. Thank you for joining us on Insights.
The rather complex landscape of socioeconomic challenges as well as national security concerns in Nigeria remains a source of worry for a greater number or percentage of our population. But yet, many remain optimistic of better times ahead. A good number are beginning to see a beacon of hope in the application of artificial intelligence, that is AI, for transformative change in Nigeria. And so on this episode of the program, we would explore how by harnessing the power of AI in Nigeria can unlock new opportunities for economic diversification, perhaps also improve the efficiency of public services and enhance the effectiveness of its security apparatus. Would also engage in an appraisal of universal healthcare coverage in Nigeria, affordability of healthcare services, and would also look at the concerns over rising prices of medications in the country. Elizabeth?
Yeah, the recurring incidences of building collapse is worrisome. So experts in the real estate sector will be giving us tips and signs on how to recognize an old building when buying a house as well, things we need to look out for, and tips to quality assurance for buildings.
Very well then, these are the issues we will be looking at on this episode of the program. Let's begin.
Whatever the issues are,
the National Assembly is constitutionally empowered to scrutinize.
However complex or intricate.
We have involved all the academia, the members of the academia. We have involved the academies.
Be it government policies or in fact any issue of public concern.
Our job is to help you gain clarity and make sense of it all.
This is not really healthy for our democracy.
There's a lot of aggrievance in terms of who has been in power longest and who becomes the governor of the state.
It's also in the quality of food being consumed.
After all, perception is insight.
And gaining understanding is also getting insight.
Despite the myriads of development issues and pressing challenges in Nigeria, there are experts who still believe, and strongly so, that by embracing artificial intelligence, Nigeria can catalyze sustainable growth, perhaps drive innovations, and fortify the nation's resilience. Let's see how all of that is feasible and how we can make all of that happen, especially since my guest here in the studio is one of the experts and advocates I referenced earlier. Is Dr. Celestine Iwendi. Dr. Iwendi is the head of the Center of Intelligence of Things, School of Creative Technology, University of Bolton in the United Kingdom, I beg your pardon. He is also a chartered engineer and visiting professor to 5 universities there in the UK. It's good to have you on the program, Doc. Welcome to Insight.
Thank you very much.
So we are seeing positive reinforcement of AI addressing pressing issues such as poverty, healthcare, and interventions in education, ultimately contributing to the well-being of citizens globally. As we explore this vast potential, here in Nigeria, speak to me generically on how AI technology can be a game changer in shaping a brighter future for Nigeria, even now in the face of daunting challenges.
Thank you very much, Nnamdi. AI, like we said, artificial intelligence, is helping quite a whole lot in the agriculture, in the health sector. Without AI, I don't think the cure for COVID would have been made possible as fast as it was. It's not there to take anybody's job. It's more of human intelligence, using data, network, data setup, and all that. Now, we are already calling for this AI to be in the academic curriculum of Nigerian universities. So we have some of them using them as template. And we have been calling for a kind of partnership, rather with the government and all that, because the government, we need them to set the regulatory, like the policy makers, regulatory, and then we can pick it from there. But to partner with University of Bolton, our Center of Intelligence, we specialize in using artificial intelligence in medical applications, using it in big data, using it even in law. You know, I told them in Indonesia last year, I visited Indonesia, and I said, any lawyer who does not know about AI cannot win a case in 5 years. If any judge that does not know AI cannot even judge a case, you know, because now evidence can be manipulated. If the law says you are going to, that winning a case is by evidence, then it's not going to happen. Because we can manipulate your voice, we can put in fact, we can put a picture and you will be thinking put you in the crime scene, while you are not in the crime scene. So these are the kind of things that come up in that. At Bolton, we created what we call psycho-intelligence, ability to dictate in 30 years, using it to solve mental problem, you know, with AI and psychology. That is that, like I've mentioned in law, we have in education, AI in education, looking at the policies. You know, the reigning one is ChatGPT. People think that is AI. That is just,
is that not AI?
That is just one small application.
You know, Doc, you talked about AI not taking people's job.
Yes.
And I get, and I'm sure a lot of people are worried about that. I did a bit of research. I think it was sometime, I think that was like 3 or 4 years ago, we were still talking about the future of work. And now, you know, AI is beginning to take people's jobs. Like, you know, if you do not move with the times, it's very possible that AI, if you do not improve yourself, AI will do the job for you. And it's already in play. Right now, we're seeing AI doing people's job and taking over people's jobs. I mean, isn't that what people are afraid of?
Now, the issue is AI will take the job of those who don't know AI. That is the truth. I visited my doctor in Sweden, and then the doctor was like, oh, what do you do? I said, oh, I'm a professor, you know, and I teach AI. He said, oh, I don't like you guys. Apparently, the doctor has spent 30 years in Africa, you know, a very old, learned doctor who, you know, Swedish doctor who has been in Africa. And I said, Doc, the issue is, you know, you've been in Africa. If you're opportune to be in China or India, or even some places in Africa where you don't have that opportunity to reach everyone, either by security problem or whatever that is going on there.
Yes.
You can use AI and, you know, with some robotics and even perform some operations without you being there. So we're talking about reaching the grassroots, reaching everyone. So AI is like manipulating things to make it easier to reach others, making your life easier. You know, those days, a manager can sit down and like, oh, I need to write this. And you need that document, you know, out. Then you have the ChatGPT there. People can just sit down and, you know, get their secretary thing out, and then, but somebody will still need to go through it. If you look at Industry 5.0, where you talked about, you know, bringing human intelligence into it, because we are not saying just use AI. We are still saying it's just like someone who says, oh, I'm a front and back end developer without a tester. You know, like the problem that just happened throughout the whole world, where some airlines, you know, so many things were off because some of the testers were removed from their job. You know, AI can do, but we also say, but you know, it's for those who know AI, they cannot be there testing with the ability of the AI and monitoring the situation.
So, Doc, let's talk about one of such opportunities, and let's talk about improving trade opportunities. I would like to play an interview I got from an event from your university. It's an interview of someone I'm sure my viewer is familiar with. Let's see that video.
It's a real pleasure to sign this memorandum of understanding today. We are really keen at the WTO to see how artificial intelligence and the digital economy can create opportunities in trade. And this is why, as the World Trade Organization, we think it will be appropriate and opportune to sign an agreement with the University of Bolton to create a special program in AI so that we can together jointly train our staff to explore what opportunities in reducing supply chain costs, for instance, in creating opportunities to make trade less expensive, more inclusive. These are the areas we're looking at. How can AI help us make trade better for people?
Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala there speaking about a collaboration with the School of Creative Technology, University of Bolton, by extension, of course, on opening AI learning opportunities for trade. Doc, let's localize this now to Nigeria and talk about how AI business-inspired ideas can, boost startups here in the country and help entrepreneurs perhaps build sellable products, thereby building and growing, the amount of startups and trade opportunities for young Nigerians particularly. Perhaps you could also, cap it all up by speaking about how AI can help unlock opportunities for economic diversification for us here in Nigeria.
Thank you very much. Now, last 2 weeks, we had a program with Development Bank of Nigeria, Telepreneur. And I was the keynote speaker in that program. And then it was lovely to see so much innovations from our youth. I've traveled quite round, Asia, Africa, in terms of the West. But Nigeria, we have so much. And that is why we, from University of Bolton, are trying to partner, in terms of bringing people, recruitment, bringing people down, also in terms of capacity training. We're signing MOU in a few days now with Obafemi Awolowo University. I was there 2 weeks ago, and then the VC showed me so much potential. And then I told them what AI can do, from environmental to medical, from medical, down to every faculty. Now the question is, do we have this in the curriculum? It's not there. So what is...
so that for you is the key issue, and it's a critical one.
The policy making there's a problem. I told them if we don't wake up, we are 20 years behind. Now, I started talking about second generation artificial intelligence when I was in China, and that was 7 years ago. 7 years ago,
we're not catching up to that level yet.
We're in second generation, started thinking about that. You can imagine how far China has gone. Imagine how far US has gone. In Bolton, we're already implementing second generation even in the curriculum. That is why we have this agreement signed by Madam Okonjo with the university, And then, so we're changing things. And it's a novel thing because we created it from scratch. We created what AI can do in trade. And we kind of specialized it, allowing them to improve in terms of capacity training. And Madam Okonjo is breaking records.
An idea or two of how, in terms of trade opportunities, especially for us, for diversifying our economy, and maybe just an idea or two.
Now, in terms of trading, now Madam Okonjo is dealing with a whole lot of huge demand all around the world.
Sure.
You are talking about being fair to others when trade is done.
Trade balance.
Yeah. So to be fair, you need data. This data, they come in every day. One of the biggest problem with Africa is database. We don't have database. If we even look at now database, if I ask now NTA, what of the database of Zebrodaya? Do we have it?
I will provide it.
If you can provide it, then I could manipulate Zebrodaya with AI to be live. Just have a deal with them, and we can have that program rerun. That is what AI does, using the data that is already there, and we'll convert it into thing. One time my wife called me and said, oh, listen to Daddy Mokpa, he's going to pray for you. And I'm like, when did that happen? Just a single line. And then the whole sentence was written with his voice. These are the kind of things AI do. Now, if it falls in the wrong hand, that is the problem. So we are now saying, bring it into the curriculum. What is NUC doing? What is the primary school system? What are they based on? Our system is still based on manual area. You can't. I keep saying you can't solve digital problem with analog system. That is why we are having problems.
And it's quite unfortunate. But since you've thrown up this whole issue of solving problems, maybe we should talk about one problem. A critical one for that matter, which is security. But then I'd like to quote a portion of a piece written by one Ozioma Samuel Uguezi, which I think he essentially called from a TV interview you had in the immediate aftermath of the Goza bombings in Borno State. I am particularly intrigued by your response to one of the questions asked, where you bluntly said, I'd like to quote there, I think you said, security for me and solving Nigeria's quagmire is easier than solving hunger problem in Nigeria. The problem is that we have yet to take the bull by the horns. End of quote. I mean, my first reaction upon reading that is, well, Dr. Nwendi's response is seemingly simple, yet pregnant with meanings. Are you by any chance implying that the government, federal and state governments, know that perhaps they have these tools they could use, and yet they are not being proactive in doing so? What exactly are you saying, when you say not taking the bull by the horn?
Now, the PRO, PRO retired, who was also in that program, also agreed with me. There is no intelligence sharing. You can have the army, you have navy, they are not working together. There's no database. Nobody can say what happened. That's why I keep saying, why the West, things are happening where we are in UK, in Sweden, in US. There's feedback system. You give somebody something, what is the feedback? What are you doing? The equipment you are bringing, are you bringing the right one? Who supplied it to you? No, so there's no feedback system. That's why I said, until we are ready, until we feel human existence is important. If not, some people are benefiting from this. Now, imagine how much is being allocated by the National Assembly. In fact, the National Assembly, the first question is, when you don't know about something, how will you even talk about it? Instead of solving a problem, you create the problem. You create more problem. That is what we have in Nigeria. We have people who are creating more problem. Because the leadership needs to understand, especially in this AI training, especially, when you look at what is happening around the world, follow suit, learn from it. I'm not saying, we send our people are going out, and we are doing very well outside. In terms of the AI and security,
yes,
AI surveillance, for instance, threat detection. I told them, apparently, I trained how to use bees to detect weapons. I could train bees in 10 minutes to detect weapons. A whole lot to do. It takes 50,000 pounds to train a dog in 6 months. But it takes us 10 minutes to do. So these are all the things we are bringing in University of Bolton. And we have our center, and also the Bolton, system that is bringing in people. Our MRES, for instance, what our MRES is doing is, it's not just bringing people. There are many schools abroad. What they do is just take your money. One time, PTDF chairman visited a school. I don't want to mention the name. And then I was there. And I said, can you ask them how many of them you are paying money for? How many of them have handled tools? Nobody lifted their hand up. I said, ask them. I have 3 master's degrees. 2 in Sweden, 1 in Nigeria. So I understand what it is to be practically oriented. And then nobody. I said, you see, you're wasting money. Let's invest this money back home. And let's partner with most of these schools. Then we can have them train and come back so that we don't have brain drain.
Directly.
We don't have brain drain. And then, watch, in the next 10 years, you are going to see India. I was in VIT because I'm a visiting professor to VIT. They train their people. What is the relationship between industry and the academics? Zero. But in Bolton, the industries are coming to us. We solve their problem. But when we solve them, so we know, our students know the current tools. Nobody is asking them 10 years experience when they graduate. The jobs are there because they have been trained right in the school with the right thing. So the university system, we are ahead of the industry where we bring in this. So surveillance and threat detection is missing.
And that is a critical component, whether it's for, in our fight or campaign against insurgency in Nigeria. And I get that. But very quickly, because I understand we're completely out of time, I would like for us to take my last and final question to you, which incidentally is a loaded one, because I'd like your response to the issues, however briefly. First, Doc, I wonder how and you already inferred to this, and that's why I'm asking this, these near limitless possibilities of AI in today's world, and how it could transform, transform an area like elections in Nigeria, perhaps maybe public governance in Nigeria as well. And then secondly, you talked about this, so maybe we should end on this note. In as much as AI is creating solutions, these technologies are also creating new challenges for people and for governments around the world, like data breaches, cyber attacks, and then there's also the issue of privacy, privacy issues as well. How can policy, and even though you've talked about policy, especially in terms of including AI in our curriculum, but then in terms of public governance, in terms of elections, And looking at some other issues that I've talked about, how can policy help in shaping, the provocative, disruptive, yet potentially good intentions of AI in a country like Nigeria?
Number one, first question is, what is the House of Assembly doing? Do we have a unit?
Houses of Assembly at the state level now.
At the state level, because charity must begin at home. From the state level, what are they doing to implement, new technology like AI? You have mentioned privacy. We have laws, now being developed in terms of EU law, in terms of US law, in terms of privacy, how you pick people's data. Now, Northwest Ambulance Service came to me, and then they gave birth in 2.5 million data sets. Because we're trying to solve, because they said 90% of people who comes there, who uses ambulance, don't really need the ambulance. So they're trying to solve immediate problem. University system must be solving problem. We must go. That is one Bolton is very good at. We want to award it. Applied knowledge, not just writing papers. I write papers. I write journals. Applied knowledge. Now, if we bring that applied knowledge, not just only in the university, bring that applied knowledge also into governance.
Yes,
we have AI
public governance.
in law enforcement. We have AI. You see, because data is not there, we don't even have history. In fact, history is just brought by the other day. We don't have.
But for an area like elections, the data are there.
The data are there. How do you monitor it? We have the drone to monitor people. Are they using it? You can put AI and camera to monitor. You just need a base station, police them somewhere, and you have the information of those committing the crime. Are you using it? Are you using it, the drone and the AI system, to govern the border? Our borders are open. They're porous. Like I keep saying, until we are ready for solution, University of Bolton is ready to help. But we, Nigerians, must be ready to say we need a change. It is only a sick man that goes to the doctor. Doctor does not go about looking for any sick person to heal. We know the problem. Until the leaders take the bull by the horn, I repeat it again, they take the bull by the horn, the solutions are there. That is why things are working outside. And we can make it work when you partner with us.
Dr. Celestine Iwendi, Head Center of Intelligence of Things, School of Creative Technology, University of Bolton, United Kingdom. By the way, Dr. Iwendi has a PhD in electronics engineering. He is a chartered engineer and visiting professor to 5 or more than 5 universities across the world. Maybe I should also add that Dr. Iwendi is an IEEE humanitarian philanthropist. Is that correct, Doc?
Yes, yes.
Fantastic. I'd like to thank you so much.
I'm also the current chair of IEEE Computer Society worldwide.
IEEE, fantastic,
yes.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for joining us on Insight. I look forward to having you here again, sometime, presently, maybe whenever you're in the country, or of course, it's a small world now. We can always join you virtually from wherever you are. Thank you so much for coming on the program.
Thank you for having me.